This week we bring you a special episode of Quality Digest Live from Hexagon Live. And that's right.
Live.
We're live.
Plus, why do bullies sometimes thrive at work? We'll find out about that when we come back.
Today's sponsor of Quality Digest Live is Hexagon Metrology. Hexagon carries the widest range of quality brands. With an extensive support network, Hexagon is also your partner. Hexagon Metrology. We are metrology.
Welcome back to Quality Digest Live for June 5th, 2013. QDL is your weekly look at who and what is making the news in the world of quality. I'm Mike Richmond, publisher of Quality Digest.
That's the man, and I'm Quality Digest Editor-in-Chief, Dirk Ducharme. Well, as Mike redundantly reiterated, we are at Hexagon Live here at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Otherwise known as the rock show of user group meetings, Hexagon Live is where a lot of the various Hexagon brands and technologies come together under one really big roof.
One really big roof.
This is a very large user group meeting. I think 3,500 people, something like that.
That's right, yep.
The theme this year is Great Stories Start Here, which Hexagon says speaks to the nature of Hexagon business, which is, quotes, empowering our customers to do great things with far-reaching and global impact, end quotes. At the opening ceremony, it was really interesting for me anyway to see how all the different technologies that Hexagon represents work together. I mean, we've got geospatial systems, metrology systems, enterprise solutions for process, power, and marine. Yep. We've got as well security, government, and infrastructure systems. And all these various parts overlap in various projects. And it's just really kind of fascinating to see how all that works. And of course, the interesting stuff for me here was all the 3D mapping. One of the interesting case studies was creating a 3D city map of Zurich in just a few days. I mean, fantastic and just really amazing stuff. And actually one of the highlights, one of the little events they had here is paratrooper Dana Bowman, right?
Sergeant Dana Bowman,
Sergeant Dana Bowman, double amputee, Ranger, ex-Ranger, part of an elite paratrooping
unit,
group. And he parachuted into an area about 10 square feet.
That's it.
He said that's all he needed, and doggone it, that's where he landed.
He hit it. Very inspirational story. A lot of great tracks here.
He did a great inspirational talk as well.
So a lot of great tracks. A lot of really good information here. This show. This is the third year we've covered it.
Yep.
First year was actually in Orlando, and last year here at the MGM Grand. Great event. This is this is the rock show of user conferences, no doubt about it. Well, all right, we're going to come back with a little more Hexagon news and features in a few moments, but I want to turn to some of the other news this week. The American Society for Quality reports that significant gaps remain in the management of quality and the implementation of training worldwide. The ASQ report, Global State of Quality Research Discoveries 2013, finds that in general, manufacturers are more likely than service organizations to use mature quality practices to ensure operational excellence. For example, 78% of those surveyed in the manufacturing space use ISO standards as a framework for their improvement efforts, while just 52% of those in the service sectors reported the same. So, pretty big difference in terms of who's using ISO standards.
Yeah, absolutely.
9001, 14001 and the like versus manufacturing versus service.
Yep.
A particularly interesting portion of the study showed the variance in the adoption of ISO standards from nation to nation. For example, if you were going to guess, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Dirk. If you were going to guess, what nation do you think had the highest percentage of response to this survey who used ISO standards as their quality framework? Don't read the teleprompter.
No, I'm not.
You're cheating.
I'm not. Oh, my guess is the Czech Republic.
Wow, how did you ever come up with that?
No.
How did you ever come up with that?
I'm brilliant.
If you guessed the Czech Republic, unlike Dirk, and you actually knew that, take a bow. An impressive 83% of respondents from that nation stated that they use ISO standards as their framework. At the other end of the spectrum, just 56% of Finnish respondents use ISO standards as their primary means of aligning their organizational improvement efforts. So when it comes to training, Germany leads the way with 77% of responding companies providing ISO training and 82% providing general quality quality training. So really what we're talking about here is the cultures of quality across different sectors, across different nations, and how people communicate that across their individual organizations and involving their suppliers and their partners as well.
Absolutely.
So good study there by ASQ, and the data for the survey was collected, by the way, from 1,991 organizations in 22 nations around the world. So for more information on ASQ's Global State of Quality Research Study, as well as information about their recent World Conference on Quality Improvement, check out the story link just below the player page right down there. And in fact, all the stories we're going to be covering on today's show can be found right down there just below the player page.
Okay, now next up we're going to have an interview with Al Chiasson. Al, I met here at the show. I hadn't really talked to Al before. He is the general manager for Hexagon Metrology Services.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring him on the show because to me it was really interesting what they're doing. They've launched an e-learning program, Hexagon Metrology University. And what they're doing with it is interesting. I want to bring Al on the show. Al, thank you.
Thanks, Dirk.
For joining us.
Good to be here.
Just really briefly to kind of set the stage, what is Hexagon Metrology University?
Well, it's an online training website. It's filled with courses for our customers and really users of all metrology products. That's kind of how it's expanded at this point.
And what was the driving force behind it? Was it just something you thought, oh, this would be a good idea, or was there something driving it?
Well, you hear a lot about it. You hear a lot about e-learning, and we had some fabulous training material for a long time, but it was one or two guys working on it, and they couldn't get ahead. They couldn't expand our product offerings. So there'd be a software version change or an operating system change, and everything had to be redone. And it wasn't until we, in our earlier conversation, I told you about our LMS, our learning management system. It allowed us to use household software to kind of build the coursework. So then the whole team could simultaneously develop courses, and the training experts could kind of give them all the same look and feel.
And what does this do for, this is a two-part question. What does e-learning, or having an e-learning course, what does that do for a company's customers? Let's say not just Hexagon, but in general, just because this is your field.
Right.
What does it do for the customers, and what does it do for the company?
Right, well, it's a great question. For the customers, I think the key is their employees can now learn at their own pace and their own convenience, and it kind of saves them a lot of time, it saves them a lot of money. They don't have travel costs associated with getting to a classroom, if you will. In terms of the benefit to the company, well, I guess it's kind of the same answer. It saves some cost, saves some time, and really allows them to make use of, say, our certification programs and zero in on a specific track, if you will.
And what kind of topics are you guys initially covering in HMU?
Yeah, well, the first round is easy, right? It's all of our hardware and software platforms for our users. So if someone buys a system from us, buys a solution, we go in and we install it, we need to train them how to use it. So that was the first round, and simple. But really, we get asked all the time, well, what about how to design an experiment? What about statistics? What about GD&T? What about, this. So this is where we thought, well, this is exciting. We have so much talent. We have over 100 application engineers, a full engineering department. We have white papers on temperature compensation, how to calculate your error budget. This is information that our customers, they need to know.
I'm glad you mentioned that because, initially we talked yesterday a little bit about this, and, this is scaled for a lot of different users. I mean, you can scale it for large organizations that have a lot of metrologists, people that need a very high level of information. But you've also done something I think that's really interesting. You have a portion of HMU that's really devoted to the individuals that have very basic skills that they need to develop.
It is. We have two things really that are exciting. We have a full series of fundamental courses which are free to everyone, and they'll give you a little history about that niche. They'll give you typical applications and best practices, and it prepares you to get to the next level. And then the courses we talked about, you and I, were some small, one-day, $49, $99, and it hits a whole new market of people who want to better themselves. Maybe they're out of work and need to build a resume, for their next job to better their career, and not the biggies, right? Not the giant customers.
Sure.
So a lot of short burst, very interesting courses that are prerequisites.
I mean, like you say, you have the content in-house. I mean, you guys have spent years, decades, developing this content through the various sectors, through the various divisions of Hexagon. And I think that users appreciate that, right? They appreciate that. I mean, we see it in our users that we can share content we've developed over the course of time. So you guys really are using kind of refabricating the information that you already have in-house and presenting it in a way that's really easy for people to access.
Well, exactly. I mean, I mentioned temperature compensation. Well, this is a struggle that everyone deals with. And well, we could send them the white paper,
Yeah.
but who's going to be able to digest that and make use of that information? But now, take a commercially savvy technical person and take that white paper and break it into a course that someone could take in a day, you know, on their iPad, you know, at a coffee shop, you know. It's a whole new game.
Well, let me ask, I know one of the, maybe it's not as big a complaint now as it used to be, but suppose, you know, people, they don't have access to, or, you know, a fast internet connection or that sort of stuff. Is this information also downloadable, or is there a DVD? I mean, do they have to take it online?
Well, a lot of the courses are purely online.
Okay.
But, so, for example, if you signed up for a course, Dirk, you would get access to the online material for a full year. So
Okay.
you send us a credit card, you pay the $99, you have that. Now you have that course material. So we're trying to go paperless to reduce cost, right?
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I guess you could maybe print it. I mean, you have some options, but you need an internet connection.
Yeah, okay, basically your intent, and that's the direction most people are going. But
Right.
I just thought I'd ask that because I know there's a question that does come up periodically. Is, well, do you have a DVD of this? Or whatever? Or can you just send us the PowerPoints or whatever? Okay.
Right.
All right. Now I know one thing that you're going into. I think you told me a lot of what you guys are starting with is the kind of how-tos on a lot of the Hexagon equipment, how it works, how it operates, you know, temperature compensation, that sort of stuff that is related to your equipment. But blueprint reading, GD&T.
Right. I mean, well, we wanted people to be successful when they came to our main courses. So we've got a lot of introductory courses on basic things like math for metrology, right? What does it mean to get on a layout plate and understand a three-dimensional coordinate system and begin to, you know, acquire some data and make use of that data and, you know, fill it up, you know, push it up the pipeline. So we got our core courses done, and then we took a step backwards and we said, okay, what kind of people are going to be coming to this? Do they have the skills required to come be successful, and what can we do to add value and help get someone to that level?
See, I think that's smart, because I think many times what we do, maybe one of the flaws we have, maybe you know, as a company serving our industry, and maybe as a media company too, is sometimes we assume too much. Maybe we assume that people are going to have some of the basic knowledge, and we're going to be presenting these ideas. And I hear from people at trade shows many times, they're like, well, I kind of get that whole GD&D thing, and I kind of know what it's about, sort of. So maybe what you're talking about is taking that step back and looking at it from the user perspective and saying, let's make sure that they're really prepped to understand this.
Hey, you know, well, you're right, and it's important to our customers. I mean, you know, they send 3 people to class. Well, maybe not all 3 of them grasped the information, right? So now we have an online test that they can't fudge. We have a report card, and not really to hold anyone accountable, to show the customer that they need to take a step back and begin with maybe some more fundamental courses, introductory level courses. But you know, they've got the material for a year. They can take the test up to, like, I think 3 or 4 times. We set a limit, and then we want to talk to someone, so they can move at their own pace. You know, they can take notes. It's just a great environment to learn, I think.
Okay. Well, Al, thanks for joining us. We're kind of out of time here. This is Al Chiasson, General Manager of Hexagon Metrology Services. Thanks a lot, Al. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Al. Good stuff there. You know, that whole e-learning platform, the e-learning world is exploding, right? I mean, because as Al mentioned earlier, everybody's kind of tied in these days on the internet. I mean, pretty much everybody can get online, and it's a very convenient way to learn anything that you might want to learn, and especially these are some complicated issues many times, and that idea that we're going to maybe provide some backup information for people.
Well, and I think another thing that happens, and I don't think Al really touched on it, is in some ways this offloads a lot of kind of spur of the moment training, particularly when you're dealing with equipment that they're having to deal out in the field. As you know, they're application engineers or sales engineers or whatever are having to answer maybe some basic questions, instead of being able to refer them, well, you know, take this course, is going to give everything you need to know about the equipment, how to set it up, how to use it, and that kind of offloads the app person or the salesperson.
In the company itself.
In the company itself, exactly.
Great. All right, well, thank you. Thanks, Dirk, again, and thanks, Al, for those great insights. You know, there's a lot going on here, as you can tell, as all of you can tell, a lot going on here at the MGM Grand, the fabulous MGM Grand in Vegas. There's also a lot going on at the Quality Digest home offices in Chico, California, as always.
Guys.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? And one of the articles articles that we covered, we published in Quality Digest Daily this week, come to us from the University of Buffalo. The title of the article is Why Bullies Thrive at Work. Bullies. And it appeared in Monday's issue of Quality Digest Daily. It's a good question. Why do bullies thrive in work environments? Now, Dirk, you're a bully.
I'm a bully.
You're terrible.
I'm awful.
You're awful. You know, you all think he's a nice guy. But you know, bullies have, according to the survey that the University of Buffalo conducted and that they published in the story, bullies have some things going for them. There's some competencies, I guess you'd call them core competencies of the bully. Most bullies have really finely tuned social skills. They understand, even though they're bullies, they understand kind of where the social leverage lies, and they understand the weaker people who don't have those skills. They can be very charming, and they can pull the wool over people's eyes many, many times. So it's a complicated issue, because for organizations, many times the people that are bullies in these organizations are, in some cases, some of these organizations' best performers, right? And they can be pretty diabolical. They can torture and abuse their coworkers without their bosses knowing.
Actually, it's not funny. But
it's not funny.
But I mean,
it happens.
But the thing that's interesting about it is kind of this dichotomy, as you have, as the study pointed out, you have these people who are to most appearances are sociable, they're friendly.
They're often very good looking,
they're
and
good looking,
they
they're
dress
nice.
well.
But they know how far to push the limits before going over the line with the people that count.
That's right.
And they're good at spotting. They're good at spotting the weaker people.
So this is the question: what do companies do? Like I say, many times these workers can be some of the most productive people, with appearances, can be some very productive people. They can be high salespeople. They can be great with clients, but maybe they bully some of their smaller clients as well. You don't always know. So really, I think what this comes down to is accountability, and really understanding what makes bullies tick. If the company can take that, and then they can look at maybe the fallout of that, and how even though these bullies are charming and they may be somewhat productive members of the company, are they destroying your organizational culture? Are they really more of a liability than they are an advantage to your organization? That's really the question here. And you know, it's a pervasive issue. I mean, we see it all the time in high schools, right? I mean, in grade schools. Kids are bullied all the time. And it's a pervasive issue, and it's not an easy solution.
Right. I mean, I think the other thing that came up that I thought was interesting, I believe they're going to be doing a follow-up study.
They are.
Was to something
how they select their victims. How do they? What is it in their social skill set that allows them to perceive who's weaker?
Right.
You know,
how they select their victims, but also I think wasn't another part is how productive they actually are.
Yes.
I mean, because they managed to be very good at climbing the ladder because of bullying and good social skills.
Yes.
But I think a follow-up study, was going to be, but once they get there, how well do they perform?
How well do they really perform?
Because that's scary. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, the scary part was, well, if bullies perform well, maybe it's easier to turn a blind eye to it because, well, you know, this guy, he's kind of a bully, but gosh, you know, look at his productivity, look how well he does or she does. Maybe we just kind of we ignore that because, gosh, this is such a good performer.
I think some management does that. And it may be a perception versus reality issue. They perceive because of their charm, because of the skill set when they're on their feet with a client that they're really valuable. Maybe they're not so valuable, especially, hey, if they're destroying the culture of your organization. So good article there to consider from the University of Buffalo. So check that out. Again, right below the player page, you can find a link out to that story.
That's right. Well, we've been at the show here for a couple days, and I had a chance to wander around the tech center, what they call the zone.
Right back here? All that stuff back there.
A lot of really interesting equipment, but one piece I really wanted to kind of bring to the forefront was a brand new product rolled out by Hexagon, the PC-DMIS Touch. And actually, we did an interview with them yesterday. Got a little video we'll show you right now. Hi, we're at the PC-DMIS Touch booth with Eric Hollenbeck, who's going to tell us about a brand new product from Hexagon, the PC-DMIS Touch. Eric, tell us a little bit about this product and how it got started and what it's all about.
Yep, it's been developed for about 6-8 months, and we really see an opening in the market, and it's something that we really think we can hit a big home run with.
In a nutshell, what is it?
It is a touch version of PC-DMIS. It's a user interface, which is much easier and interactive for the user, so that they can learn quicker and become more effective at the job.
So really, this is basically an easier way to program and run programs on some of your equipment. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct, yes. Right now we're doing it for the arms only, but we anticipate down the road it'll be the interface of choice for all of our metrology equipment. Just as we see PC-DMIS as being a common software, this will be the common interface for PC-DMIS, with it running in the background with all the power of computation, all the processing that goes along with PC-DMIS.
Okay, well run us through it and show us what it does.
Okay, here we go. So this is the opening screen. As you can see, it's just touch. I just hit that. This is a touchscreen monitor. I've got a little Lenovo laptop over there as well. So we just start off. We just hit. You don't have to think too much. You just look around. It's like, new. Yeah, I want to do a new program. So I'm going to give it a name, and we'll call it quality.
So right now we're setting up for a new program. Is that right?
That's correct. Just as if I just walked up, my boss says I got to write a program. I got to get this part inspected. It's got to be done right now. You can't wait around. Let's get the job done, right? So we're in America. I'll come over here, and if I was going to take a picture of this part, I just bring my laptop over.
Okay, so you just took a picture of the part, what, just for documentation purposes?
Yep. Just so for documentation and for my operator, if you look back here on the screen, we've got a picture of the part right there. I can say done. And now if I go back up to the original screen, there's my Quality Digest part. So I could have kept going with the program, but just to show you what's going to happen with that. So then, everybody talks about alignments with parts and how difficult alignments can be. Well, here's alignment with touch. Measure a plane. Done.
So that was just a plane measurement you did right there.
Just the plane for level and the Z origin. Now I just did a line. That's going to give me my rotation. And finally another line to complete my alignment. Now this is an alignment. Done. It's that easy.
So it took about 45 seconds.
Exactly. And we're used to the old ways where you have to measure the features and then go through the selections, and we've just canned everything up to make it super easy.
Okay, so now that's actually our program now for a very simple program, and so now you're ready to run this?
Yeah, let's say if I wanted to do a few more things, like let's say measure a couple circles. There's a circle, and let's say we measure one more.
Now I noticed it automatically determined, you didn't tell it that you were going to do a circle, right? It automatically determined that it was a circle.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I'll do one more circle, and because I want you to see something. So I'm going to measure 4 points on the center bore. Now look at on the right side of the screen. This is one of the latest features with touch. Notice how it measured 4 points, and in classic PC-DMIS, if you measure 4 points, it's going to guess. We call it feature recognition. It's been around for a few years. But what you don't know is what it's going to guess. So it guesses something, and it inserts that feature into your program. And if it's what you wanted, great, you win. If it's not what you wanted, then you got to back out and go through a few menu steps to get exactly what you wanted. And in this case, if it was a circle, then you'd have to force it to be a circle. Now what we got, it highlights what it thinks you wanted to create. And in this case, it thinks I want to do an inside circle. But since it's 4 hits, it could also be an outside circle, geometrically, of course, not. And then it could also be a plane, of course, and it could also be a line. So it's giving me and also a sphere over here. So it gives me the options. If I want to say, no, it's a sphere, I just touch sphere. Now it's going to say that it's going to create a sphere from those 4 points.
Okay, so again, a very simplified interface and more intuitive, actually.
Much more intuitive, exactly. Just what the user needs to see, and nothing else. Just the simple stuff. Okay. So it says circle, and I'm going to say, yeah, that's what I want. Circle, done. So now I got all the features. I got my program. let's say I want to do some dimensions from that circle. Let's say that circle. It's going to give me the measured distance. Nice thing is right here I can substitute the nominal. If I know that this is supposed to be 32.3, I know the tolerances are supposed to be 0.005, 5 thou. I'll have the information here. I can say done. Let's say I also would like to do a concentricity of these two circles. Gives me the measured value here. I can edit the tolerance. We'll say 8 thou for that guy. And say done. Save my program. I got my report. This is what I will end up with. And then I can go into my run screen. So now I have a full program that's been completely written. It's ready to inspect the part. Bring in my operator. Say, okay, Mr. Operator, I need you to run this part. You want to run from the top? Yes, I do. I want to run the whole thing, including the alignment. Prompts me to go right through it. Starts off with the plane, gives me a nice graphical representation over here. If the operator is unsure, you can drag it around, you can rotate it, have a quick look. Which feature is which, and where is it? So first thing I'm going to do is measure the plane, because that's what my guy told me. There we go, 1, 2. And I measure my line. Now I go into my circles.
And obviously all the way along the way it's prompting you for what dimension you're going to be taking.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. If we look over on the screen here, it's telling me that this particular circle is used in 2 dimensions, in the first distance dimension that I did, and also in the concentricity dimension. It gives me that it's not necessarily necessary for the operator, but it gives them a little bit of buy-in. It makes them part of the process and understand what's going on.
And that's the end. That's the end of the program. Okay.
That's it.
All right. So what? Oh, go ahead.
That's right. So then I go back to my report. So I've got my report, and it's all the features that I measured, all the dimensions, the tolerances that I set. I can say save, and then I can go preview. I can export the program. I can print the program. And just for posterity, there's my report along with my program.
And so that's pretty easy. So I mean, this rolled out this week, so Tuesday. Is this already available on the market?
It is not quite available for quotes. So we expect early to mid-July, we'll be able to have this available. There's a few things within the factories, especially with the Romer factories, that we're trying to get in line just so we can make it a painless experience for our customers. Okay. But yeah, we're rolling it out just to get it's our big show. We got to show it, but it's ready. It's working great. We love it, and we can't wait to see our customers using it.
All right, that was Eric Hollenbeck showing us the PC-DMIS Touch. Eric, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, Dirk.
Sure, no problem. Sure,
well,
no
thanks
problem.
again, Eric Hollenbeck, for giving us that fine Tech Corner demo of the PC-DMIS Touch technology software. We saw that yesterday here on the floor. Well, this has been a great show. We've had some great tracks here, Dirk, and we even had a Paul Naismith sighting. Paul Naismith, look at him. You can't see, but he's got great socks on.
It's the Scottish Cajun.
I tell you, alligator haggis and everything. Well, that's our show. Thank you, Paul. That's our show for this week. But before we go, we'd like to thank Hexagon Metrology, today's sponsor, and our gracious host for this week at HxGN. Hexagon Metrology carries the widest range of quality brands. With an extensive support network, they are also your partner. This show this week is the largest PC-DMIS user group meeting in the world and featured some great high-level content again. So to learn more or to revisit the highlights of HxGN, click hexmet.us/HxGN Live or hexagonmetrology.us, or maybe a little simpler, click the banner ad or right below our video player right down there.
That's right. Well, we've been excited to be here at the show. We've got one more day, and hopefully we'll come back with a lot of more interesting news tidbits. And actually, we've got another product demo that we recorded here at the show, and another new product from Hexagon Metrology, the Optiva Classic, and maybe we'll be showing that on next week's show.
You'll see it down the road.
That's right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we will see you at the next Quality Digest Live.
Have a great weekend.
So long.
Bye.